Hello everyone, welcome to this video tutorial. So in today's tutorial, we're going to look into how can we create the indicator filters around RSI. RSI stands for Relative Strength Index Indicator. So it is one of the popular indicator in the technical analysis. So in this tutorial, what we're going to do is first of all, we will take a little bit time to review what is the RSI indicator is. Get some example in the chart and show you guys what the RSI indicator looks like. After that, we are going through all the functions that's supported by RSI indicator. Then we create some of the indicator filters by using those functions, and then show you guys what the market scan will doing by using those indicator filters. And then finally, we will review the market scan results. So in the between, I will explain some of the functions I think could be very useful. So finally, I'm going to just give you guys an overview and overview on what we have talking about the RSI. So hopefully this video will give you some ideas on how to create the indicator filters by using our RSI indicator. Okay, so let's go into our application. So at the moment I haven't imported any data yet, so in order to do a market scan you need to import data, and also you cannot use the memory safe mode, so just use default mode. So as you can see, I'm gonna load ASX 200 market into the memory, into this application. Okay, so let's just be a little bit patient. As you can see, I have already loaded 2,000 files, more than 2,700 files. Once that finished, and we right click on the financial market data and say let's refresh. So we open up any chart. So as you can see, I have loaded all the data for the ASX 200 top 200 stocks. Let's open up APT. That's just first one, and also let's display an RSI indicator. Okay. All right. As you can see, the RSI indicator is the oscillator type of indicator. So oscillator type of indicator means we will give a line chart, and the line chart will moving between these two extremes. One is the negative extreme, so the minimum extreme value is number 0, and the top limit is 100. So as you can see, the middle is 50. So this line chart will moving between 0 and 100. All right, it never extends. These values will never, break this two limits. So as you can see, RS line is a line chart, and the line chart moving up and down between these two extreme values. Okay, so what is that RSI indicator is doing is actually a momentum indicator used in technical analysis, and we're using this indicator to measure the magnitude of the recent price changes. We're using this value also to give us the ideas of this current security or underlying stock is right now overbought or oversold, as you can see from here. So this is the configuration items for the RSI. So we have a average on, and average on is 14 as the default. So basically the RSI means it's going to be using a running period, which is 14 units, because we're right now open the weekly chart. So that is the running period will be the 14 weeks period. So it's running period. We'll calculate the RSI, based on this range. So I'm using the average gain and divided by average loss, and we use it to calculate our RSI. So that 14 defines the width time period of this rectangle. So we also have another value which is used to define what do you mean by overbought. The default is 70. As you can see, the 70, the little green line. From here, any value before any value of the RSI, if it is over or equals to 70, which means it's overbought. So as you can see from this period of time, RSI is overbought, and any values below 30 will be oversold. So here it is oversold. So of course you can change that value, and some people want to use number 80 to estimate overbought, and 20 to define it oversold. If you change that number, as you can see, uh, this green line and the red line down here is moving downwards a bit, and then this oversold suddenly becomes not oversold because you change that value. But we're using the default 70 and 30, so it's up to you. Okay, so that's pretty much the very basic review of what is a relative strength indicator, index indicator is doing, and what is the indicators look like. Okay, so we also have, if you want to learn a little bit more in details of this indicator, you can go back to our indicator playlist. So looking for the RSI video tutorial, and you go back to that one. In that video, we have a very detailed contents to talk about RSI. So okay, so in here, we just do a very quick review. All right, the second step is let's just go back to our documentation, and let's just have a look what functions provided by the RSI indicator that we can use to create our indicator filter. Okay, once again, we come back to this documentation page. So from here is this section is this is all the functions that are related with the RSI. So as you can see, this looks slightly different than the previous one. I mean, previous means the other indicator type, so there is slightly different because some of the functions only belong to RSI. As you can see, this one is oversold, is overbought, right? So those functions are only belong to RSI. So let's take a look from the top and to just quickly review those functions. The first one is the value. So this function just get the current unit's RSI value. So just return what current week or day or month RSI value. The previous value is just return the previous week's, day or month or year RSI value, depends on what chart type you choose. So this one is oversold. So as you can see, it starts from is. So we're going to use an is true or is false type of operator when we create indicator filter. So this function is saying, so it tells you if RSI number read for the current date or current unit is oversold or not. So you must combine is true or is false. Okay, so that just tell you if you said is true, so they're gonna give you all the oversold stock from the market scan. So that is ask question if it's oversold. So along with that one, so they're very similar. We have is duration oversold, and that duration means if it just simply return if its security is oversold for that period of time. So you have to specify a period of time in when you're using this function. So basically, if you say, you know, if this security is keeping in oversold status for how many weeks, all right? So this function is doing slightly different than one with the previous one. Okay, so we also have is overbought. So is overbought it's another function, so you can use for return all the security when with their RSI indicator is keeping in overbought status. So that overbought values is defined by the user. Usually default is 70. Okay, so here's another one. is duration overbought. So it's similar with the is duration oversold. So it will tell you is that stock actually keeping in overbought status for how many units, right? So the units means weekday, monthly, or yearly. It depends on what chart type you're choosing. So that's a similar one. Okay, so here's another one is breakout from oversold. So this function is check if the current RSI value is larger than its oversold benchmark, because it breakout from. So its current one is sorry. So it's check if the current RSI value is larger than its oversold benchmark and the previous RSI is less or equals to. So which means breakout from oversold. So this function actually very useful. It's just tell you if this stock previously is oversold, but now it's not oversold, right? So it's breakout from oversold, sorry, overbought. It's breakout from oversold. That one previously is not oversold, but now is previously is oversold, but now is not oversold. So that's the function's doing. It's falling into oversold, and then it's just opposite. If it's previously it's not oversold, but this week is falling into the oversold status, that function will tell you all this. And here is breakout from overbought. That means previously it's overbought, but it's breakout from overbought means this current week is not overbought, right? And it's falling into overbought means previously it's not overbought, but this week is going into the overbought status from the RSI reading. Okay. These four functions are quite similar with the other indicators. It just tell you some direction related function. It tells you if the RSI line chart currently is moving from it's sloping up or sloping down, right? And also it's a sloping flat. So this four function tells you the direction of the RSI line chart. So with all this knowledge in hand, we can start to create some of the indicator filters. I know it's quite a bit of functions here, so you can always go back to our main page, product technical analysis, and then go into the indicator filter function documentation, go into the right section and have a look at this function definition. So if you still have some questions, please leave your comments below. We'll try to find some time to answer your questions down there. Okay, cool. Let's go back to our application now, and I'll show you some example doing this by using those functions and create some of the market scans, so that way you guys can get a very direct feeling about what this function's doing. Okay, let's close those data first. First of all, we're trying to create indicator filter, and then we have to open up our indicator filter management. Okay, so I already have two of them here. So okay, let's take a look at the existing one. Just say this one. Okay, so this function, so this indicator filter, I have only one condition. So take a look at this condition we are creating here. In the left hand side, we chose RSI, and as you can see, once I've selected RSI, and those configuration related to RSIs appears here. So you need to specify some of the configuration if you want to change some. As you can see, in this condition, I've changed its oversold value read from default 30 to 20, and overbought number read from 70 to number 80. So because I want to see more extreme conditions for some of the stocks. The function I'm using, this first one, is quite easy, just straightforward. Just give me this week's RSI number read. So I just get the value of the RSI. That's it. Oh, sorry, this function I have to use is just ask question if it oversold. Okay, so it's give me if this week's RSI is equals to 80 or larger than 80, all right? And the operator, because it starts from is, so I have to use is true or is false. And this one I'm using is true. and save the condition. Okay, let's say so once we finish that, so we finish the creating this filter. With this filter, we can create a market scan. In order to create a market scan, we have to go into the market scan management. Open the market scan management. As you can see, I already created one here. Let's delete our old scanning results. Everything's empty. As you can see, select the market you want to go, you want to scan of, and also pick up the right condition. The right indicator filter. So we have two already. So let's just get this one. Is oversold is true. So that's gonna be give me before the scan. Yes, we are expecting we're going to get some of the results with their RSI read is really low, which is below 20 or equals to 20, because you ask question if oversold is true, right? So let's see what we can get from the market scan. So in order to kick off a market scan, you go into our market scan control panel, which is last one item from here. You click on that, and you're looking for the market scan you want to run. So remember the name we have, because we have to using the same name with the condition. It's quite easy to looking for the right one here. Weekly RSI is oversold is true. Okay, click this button, it's the start button. Let's kick off the market scan. Alright, you have the last chance to review the condition. That looks alright, and then you click OK button. So as you can see, we only get one result here. Let's see what we got. Right click on the result tree history, and we double click on that the green item here. So that's our results. So we have only one stock picked up by this condition. So let's take a look at this one, MFG. If you want to open the chart, double click on it. Okay, now the chart look like this. All right, now at the moment we open up the weekly chart of MFG. All right, so its value of RSI read should be extremely bearish. As you can see, if I say 20, because we're using 20 and 80 to as the oversold and overbought. I'm not sure you guys can see it quite clearly. So this one is obviously slightly, you know, when I'm zooming, so it's slightly below number 20. So actually this is owning, yeah, so here this RSI read is slightly below that red line, so that's the correct result, because we are looking for an extremely low RSI read from this week. So this is only one from top 200 Australia stocks from last week. Okay, so this is first function. This is the first indicator filter we created against RSI, and we do find our right candidate. Let's close that one. Okay, another one is let's delete that one. Okay, going back to indicator filter. So the second functions we are using for the scan is falling into overbought. What I do mean is this time, so let's take a look at that condition. We also only have one condition here. So left hand side indicator, which we select the RSI, and everything looks like we kept in default numbers read. 14 average on, 30 means oversold, 70 means overbought. The function we're using is falling into overbought. So that function from our memory. So this function means we're looking for all the stocks with previous RSI read is equals or below number 70, because you're looking into falling into overbought. But this week, so RSI should be over 70. So it's kind of bullish sentiment here. So because those shares are right now moving into the bullish, so it's overbought status. So that's the falling into overbought status. Okay, so we're looking for some of the turning point here, which is previous is not overbought or equals to overbought status, but this week's absolutely overbought. All right, so let's take a look at that, because again, this is another starts with is function, right? So you have to use an is true or is false. So this time we're using is true, and let's save it. Okay, come back to market scan. We do have another market scan against by using this indicator filter. So this time, as you can see, we picked up this one. It's falling into overbought. It's true. Let's start the market scan to see what we can get this time. So let's pick up the first one, right? And click start. As you can see, the summary, we're using that weekly RSI 1430.70. The function we're using is falling into overbought is true. So let's take a look. Okay, we have a 1 again here. Not 1, so we have quite a bit of them. So I think it's we have 3 of them. It's falling into overbought. So let's take a look what that falling into overbought means. So let's take a look at the last one here. And meanwhile, we open our RSI. So just in case you guys can't see clearly, I'm just zoom in a bit. So when you zoom in a lot, and as you can see here, this week's overbought, yes, it's true. As you can see, this week's RSI is above that green line, but previous the RSI is below here. It's below the green line, the overbought line. So that's the correct result, right? Let's take a look at the other one, LYC. Open RSI as well. That green line is not very clearly. So in this example, this week's RSI is obviously over that green line, overbought from here, right? But previous one is equals to that green line, right? So that's also correct, because falling into overbought, the previous week should be equals or less than 70. So this one is fulfill that condition. Finally, we have another example. It's CPU, the computers share, company, stock. Let's turn on the RSI indicator. Also 70. Okay, so here again, not very obvious, but if you zoom out a bit more, so as you can see, this week is overbought. It's slightly above that green line, 70, and previous week looks like it's slightly below or equals to that green one. So as you can see, the market scan is quite sensitive. It's just picking up or precisely what the value is. You know, it's over 70. Even it is 70.05, it will pick up this share. That's the one we are looking for. Okay, so that's the function is falling into overbought. So from now on, let's create a new filter and add condition. Okay, so this time let's use another function. Again, we choose RSI, chart type weekly. Everything let's leave it as default. So we have showed you guys is oversold. If it's overbought, I think let's take a look at another function is duration overbought, right? So as you can see, its duration overbought means for how many weeks this RSI keep in overbought status. The overbought value is 70. Let's find out for past 5 weeks. This RSI stays above the overbought. Maybe like 10 weeks, more extreme. Set is true because that function starts from is, so we have to use the operator is true or is false. Let's select is true. Let's try to save the condition. Yes, we can save it. Okay, so this function will give you all the stocks that for the past 10 weeks, it's over its RSI RSI value is over 10, so over 70, it is in the overbought status. Let's see if we can find that. Anything from the top 200 Australia shares. Okay, let's keep that, copy that name for to this name of this indicator filter itself. Let's come in, open up our market scan management and add a new market scan by using that name. Okay, keep everything default right here. Select the market we are going to scan and then select the filter we want to use in the scan. Duration is true. Okay, so it looks like the first one. Let's start it. All right, we do find the two candidates here. Okay, AST and SKI. Let's open up the first one. Take a look at the weekly chart and open up our RSI 70. So as you can see, if you count from the current week back for the 10 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, not even more, so at least 10 weeks here. So as you can see, the RSI value for the past 10 weeks are in the overbought status. So in that rectangle, oh, join too quickly. So that's even more than 10 weeks. So here it's like 15 or 20 weeks already. So here, so as you can see, RSI value for the duration of 10 weeks, it stays above 70. So that fulfills our condition. Let's take a look at another one, SKI. So as you can see, those two charts looks like very similar because they're in the same sector, infrastructure, utility sector. Let's open up our RSI indicator. 70, as you can see here, for the past 10 weeks, it's absolutely over that 79. So that's fulfilled the condition because the duration of 10 weeks, our RSI stays above overbought. So that's fulfilled that condition. So if you don't believe me, just count it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You see? And even you count even more, so it still fulfill that condition. So, but yeah, past 10 weeks, absolutely overbought. Cool. So that's how you define by using that duration type of functions. Okay. Let's create another one. Let's go back to our indicator filter. Let's create another filter by using RSI. Let's add a condition, picking up RSI. Chart type weekly. Let's see what else I can show you guys. So overbought, duration overbought, I just showed you. So you can use it overbought straight away, but without a duration, it just gives you an overbought. I'm not going to show that, it's too simple. And what I'm going to show you is falling into oversold. So what about this? Because I've already showed you is falling into overbought, so we can show you guys what it means by is falling into oversold. Okay. In this function, that you will find all the stocks that currently is oversold, but the last week is not. So it's kind of you can find all the turning points for the stocks, which is just falling into the oversold. If I save this condition, so as you can see, weekly RSI is falling into oversold is true. So let's see what we can find from here. So once you save it and you go into market scan, create a new market scan. Let's use the same name of the indicator filters name so we can easily find out that one. Keep everything's default here, and then you select market that you're going to scan, which is our ASX 200. Look, Second step is we have to include all these filters. Now remember, we can use multiple filters, but for the demonstration purpose for this video, we're just using one filter here, right? Falling into oversold is true. Okay, that's the one we're going to use. If you're going back to the market scan control panel and then looking for the one we haven't run yet, that looks like this one. We click the star button, have a quick review of the summary, and let's start the market scan. Okay, there is no result find, which means there's no result find from oversold is just it's true. Basically, there's no. This is possible. Sometimes in the entire market, there's no stock fulfill this condition. This week is oversold, last week is not oversold. That's normal. Okay, so maybe let's change into something. Let's see, do we have something falling into overbought? We also did that. Okay. Maybe let's take a look this duration oversold. All right. If we don't find anything just falling into oversold, for example, let's say, do we have any very bearish scenarios for some of the stocks that stays in oversold for 10 weeks already? We can change that condition. So because you want to change a condition, you're just going to modify and then change it, right? So this time we change another function. It's duration oversold for 10 weeks. Let's see if we can find something. Let's change that the name as well, because we changed the conditions. Going back to our market scan, change the name. We select that one. We select the right one here. It's duration oversold for 10 weeks. Okay, let's do another market scan. So as you can see, if you change the condition, the market, this summary is changed as well. It's telling you right now you're scanning by use this condition, so which is using RSI's duration oversold in 10 weeks is true. So if you click OK, right, we find one candidate. All right, it's called PTM. So this particular share in top 200 Australia share, it stays oversold for 10 weeks already. If you don't believe it, just open up that RSI indicator. Let's take a look at this. Where is the oversold line? Right here. Okay. As you can see, these stocks, if you count from this week back 10 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So right here, right? This little bar, inside bar here, stuff on here. Yes, these stocks actually, the RSI value stays below 30 for 10 weeks already. So that's fulfill our condition. So this market scan actually gave us precisely the results. That's the stock we want to find, a super bearish one. Cool. So that's the duration oversold. Let's going back to our indicator filters and see if any more valuable functions that we can use. I do want to explain some of the more functions here. So as you can see, sometimes the previous value is useful because if you say it's just if you specify the condition like this and saying we can use multiple functions to achieve the same goal of another function. For example, you're saying the current week's RSI value is larger than, give it a null, larger than 70, because that 70 it's overbought, right? So this condition, if you save it, sorry, it requires a float value, sorry. So that value has to be float value, okay? So you change the type to the float, and 70, you've saved it. So that pretty much telling you, give me all the stocks with RSI value is over 70. That is the same with is overbought, right? And also you can add another condition. Again, you're using RSI, but this time you're using previous value. So you compare previous value with less or equals to float 70. Right, so in this way, so these two two conditions combined, it equals to another function, which is the RSI is falling into overbought, right? Because you're saying previous value is less than 70 or equals to 70, but the current week's RSI is larger than 70, so that is exactly same with it's falling into overbought. Okay, so that's the example, but I'm gonna not do the scan so you guys can try it. We just illustrate how to use the previous value here. Let's using another functions. So these functions I already showed you, and then there are more functions here. So those ones are very interesting. Those functions are telling you what the direction right now for the current week's RSI chart is. That RSI line is going up or going down. So that these four functions: sloping down since last peak, sloping up since last trough, and also another two floating flat. So those functions, the last four functions, give you the direction of the RSI line. So if you combine it, for example, you want looking for a very bullish scenario. So first of all, you want to see the RSIs moving up. So you can say it's sloping up since last trough is true, right? So first of all, RSI has to be moving above, moving to the upper direction, because that means the momentum is increasing. And also you can add another function saying I want to also find the RSI value is larger than float 50, because 50 is RSI center line. So in this condition, if you save it second one, so as you can see, those two functions those two conditions combined can get you all the stocks with their RSI value is currently above center line, and also is moving above, moving to the upper direction. Let's just give it a generic name for that one. So weekly RSI larger than 3 and sloping up. Okay. So let's create a market scan by using this filter we just created here. Select the market, we're going to scan, and using this condition we just created. Okay. So you want to get all the candidates from this condition, and then you review it and looking for the most bullish one you're trying to buy for next week, for example. You can do this type of market scan. So let's do it, see what we can get from the market scan, which is the first one. If you click that star button, as you can see, the summary shows exactly the condition we just set it up there. And let's start market scan. We have got quite a bit of candidates. Looks like we have 86 candidates. So if you refresh the result tree here and double click on the results, so as you can see, those ones are fulfill that two conditions. And then what I normally do is just I have a look at those preview chart. There is some technical analysis happening in my mind when I review those things here, and I'll pick up some of I will note down these the strongest candidates I probably can buy next week, for example. That's the process. You have to do it in your mind, you know. So you can apply another technical analysis or even the fundamental ones. Combine everything with your scan results. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at some of their example. For example, FPH. This is healthcare one. Okay, looks like there is in consolidation area. Let's open its RSI. Okay, as you can see, the condition is correct because at the moment this week the RSI value is over 50, is above the center line, and it is moving up, right? So that fulfills our condition. Okay, let's take a look. Another one. What is EOD? Again, it's in the consolidation. Looks like. But take a look at the RSI indicator. So the RSI obviously is sloping up, since last 12, and also it's above 50 center line, so that's another good candidate. So as you can see, the market scan gave us the correct results. Let's take a look at the last one. This looks very bullish. For example, CWY is it's creating its all-time high from this chart scale. And also RSI value, okay, it's quite above the 70s. All right, so it's almost reaching the 70. So it's quite a it's well above the 50 center line. And also it's pointing up, right? It's sloping up since last 12, so that's correct. Okay, so I'm not going to show you more, and so that's another function. So you can use the slope. It's basically give you a direction type of information for the underlying indicator, and also you can have the multiple functions and filters conditions. Sorry, in the same indicator filter, you can create a multiple conditions here, so that give you a more comprehensive results. Okay, I think I have went through most of the functions here, and also created the market scan, and I did the market scan, and we also reviewed the market scan results. I think you guys already have some brief ideas how to create the indicator filters around RSI indicator. You guys familiar? I think you guys already familiar with these functions, how to use them, and yep, cool. I think that's pretty much all for this video tutorial, because you guys can create so more indicator by using rest of the functions here. So those are quite similar. Hopefully this video contents will help you guys in your analysis. So again, if you have questions, always come back to our documentation page and leave your comments. If you have questions, you can leave your comments below. We try to answer your questions. Okay, yep, I think that's pretty much all for this video tutorial. Thanks for your time, and thanks for your watching. I'll see you guys in the next video tutorial. Bye for now.